So thank you everyone for joining tonight's open mic. My name is Nia McAllister and I'm the Public Programs Manager at the Museum of the African Diaspora in San Francisco. And as we gather here tonight, it is essential to acknowledge the times that we're living in and the circumstances that we're navigating. MoAD affirms Black Lives Matter and recognizes the ongoing systemic violence against Black people. We honor and mourn the senseless murders of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, Tony McDade, Casey Goodson Jr., Patrick Warren Sr., Andre Hill, Dante Wright, Anthony Thompson Jr., Ma'Khia Bryant, and so many others who lost their lives in police brutality and racial injustice, including those whose names we do not know. We want to acknowledge that MoAD's commitment to racial justice is ongoing, and as such, we will continue to say these names, to hold space and to honor these victims. I also want to acknowledge the spaces that we're occupying. Though we're gathered virtually, many of us are settlers, immigrants, or descendants of those forcibly brought to this continent. And our institutions were founded on the exclusions and erasures of the indigenous peoples on whose lands we're located. It is with deep respect that MoAD acknowledges that even in virtual space, we here in what we call San Francisco and Oakland reside on unceded Chochenyo and Ramaytush Ohlone lands. And we thank these indigenous communities of the Bay Area and beyond who've stewarded this land throughout the generations. We encourage everyone to learn more about the native lands that you occupy by visiting nativeland.ca. So I want to thank everyone again for joining us and being here in this space tonight. I'm always so grateful to find community and healing through art, and this space really does that. It's a space for us to recognize the full spectrum of our feelings, to acknowledge our grief, our anger, our exhaustion, but also to find comfort and joy in each other's company. So I want to emphasize that everyone is welcome in this space. And it's important that we always center respect and continue to create spaces that amplify Black voices. So for those who are new to this space, I'm just going to give a quick overview before we get into the poetry. Throughout the event, if you are not the person speaking, I do ask that you keep yourselves on mute. However, that being said, it is an open mic, and so affirmations are important. So I encourage everyone using the chat features or the reactions, please affirm all the people who are coming up to the mic tonight, whether that's also air claps or snaps, any way to really show your love, lines that stand out to you. So please use all of those modes to really support our performers tonight. I'm going to be putting the lineup in the chat in just a moment, and I will be introducing each person before they go up. All of our readers have about 4 minutes to share. If for some reason I call someone and they're not in this space, we'll circle back to them if they join later. And of course, midway through the event, we're very lucky to have our feature for this evening, Tanea Lunsford Lynx. So very much looking forward to Tanea's poetry. So with that, I think we're ready to go. So I'm going to introduce our first poet for this evening, Melissa Noel. Welcome.
Thank you, Nia. The title of this piece is A New World. A little girl named Mania sat in the back corner of her classroom in a chair that squeaked with every twist and every turn. She often pondered out the window as her eyes caught glimpses of a montage of picket signs parading in a merry-go-round motion. One of the signs intrigued Mania's curiosity. It read, "Academic freedom plus a good education equals a basic human right." Who is going to look out for Mania when mom is on drugs and dad is serving life? Who is going to look out for Mania when her temper tantrums warrant handcuffs instead of tough love? Who is going to look out for Mania when she finds shelter from the storm by engaging in sexual activity? Who is going to look out for Mania when her behavior has a tendency to erupt into episodes of violent proclivity? Who is going to look out for Mania knowing that this war zone out here is not a level playing field, knowing that oftentimes the trauma of inflicted wounds, they never heal? Who is going to look out for our children when the odds and the barriers and the roadblocks are against them? We are. We, the ancestral alabaster stone living between two worlds of yesterday and today. We, former Black Panthers, American Indian Movement members, former PTA presidents, former prisoners of war, former victims of incarceration, former librarians, former United Farm Workers, radical women, retired teachers and brown berets, grandmamas and granddaddies. We need to have the kind of energy of a determined middle-class nightmare, the kind that Amiri Baraka and Abby Hoffman wrote about, the kind that Amir Thompson and Max Roach drummed about, the kind that Nina Simone and Abby Lincoln sung about, and Larry Italiong and Cesar Chavez shouted about, only thinking rationally when needed. We must rise up, sprouting through the grassroots and creating an unbelievable metamorphosis, transformational, transcultural, transcontinental, revolutionary protests for change in our communities. Because see, sometimes we have to close our eyes in order to see things better. We are the grassroots, says Mania, as she raises her hand high in her classroom, no longer feeling invisible, raising her hand high, no longer feeling disenchanted, raising her hand high as the sunlight caresses her bright mind, raising her hand high with the landscape of her soul is oxygenated and nurtured with nutrients sweet, just like Caribbean sugarcane. Raising her hand high where she knows her voice is safe and her opinion is respected. Raising her hand high where the beauty and eloquence of language, literacy, and numeracy becomes her passion and natural ability. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter how much money you do have or don't have or what you ain't got. It doesn't matter what people say about you. It doesn't matter what clothes you have or your latest tennis shoes. It doesn't matter the kind of car you drive or whether or not you have food on the table or running water, or even bus fare for tomorrow. You see, none of that matters because none of that predicts your future. What matters is that you rise. Rise like an effervescent morning sun. Rise like a new life has just begun in you. Rise like the raging South Shore Nova Scotia Sea. Rise for freedom, justice, gender equality, and BIPOC communities, or anyone who believes in cultural responsiveness and equity. Equity that belongs to you and belongs to me. Rise, Mania. Rise, Mania. Mania, rise.
Great. Thank you so much, Melissa, for that poem. That was absolutely beautiful. And what a way to start us off. Thank you. Next up, I would like to invite Norm Maddox up to the mic. Welcome, Norm.
Oh my gosh, wow. Wow, that was so tremendous. I can't even say words. Thank you so much. I have a couple of pieces, and this is some new shit here. Faith and doubt. Two frames for the same hope. Tension between the two necessary to stay balanced. Faith inspires hope, ignites motivation, while doubt over time undermines hope. A damp fog on motivation, choosing no direction to go in, like a mind without a thought to focus on. Doubt brings home the drunken monkeys, letting go and grasping, random tails swinging in my face. Grasping, grabbing at a fistful of air. Too much faith. Is that possible? Too much doubt. Easy to achieve. Need some of one and plenty of the other. Next piece. This is called Seagull Clouds. Scavengers drift on shifting convection currents. Heat rises off decomposing landfill. Warm feathers afloat in updraft spirals. An invention of swamp, a water filtration system bioengineered by Earth's mother of creation. Turns foul-smelling valley at the bottom of human pollution. Castles of compost, bog farms fill Scotch smoke screens. Luxury in a place where this mammal cannot rise above the stench, combing through mountains of waste. A throwaway society prefers investment in garbage and corruption. Bought, sold, disappeared, underground, underwater, out of view, in plain sight. Eaten through slatted barrels, bigger than a stomach can hold, more than can be chewed and swallowed. Undigested excess, wasting away in the needs, overwhelming community resources. Hire more scavengers, take up less space. Peace.
Thank you so much for both of those, Norm, and it's always exciting hearing the new pieces as well. Next up, I would like to invite Ibtihal Ahmed. Welcome back.
Thank you so much, Nia. This first piece is called Gentrified. I could not help but notice every fleeting moment in this busy part of Connecticut Avenue. Moments where fragments of my teenage memories were formed. The sun created an aura of elation as it reflected the rays of people's colorful laughter. I devoured every breeze which brought the smell of freshly brewed coffee. As I witnessed a child trying to juggle riding his bike and enjoying his lollipop, I was reminded that some of life's artful moments are often unintentional. I knew that this moment was perfect for an ice cream, but savoring the memory of this moment could not fit into my soul. I kept passing. The festive and unstoppable speed on Connecticut Avenue gradually began to look like a mirage as I entered another part of town. I found myself surrounded by shadows of sunny recollections and pure joy. As I crossed the same bridge that once took me to school, I bid farewell to the changed city that I was once fascinated with. I began, at last, to fathom the idea that life's invaluable moments are like a patchwork of memories that are forever engraved in the essence of our mortal souls. The second piece is called Resilience. Your life may not be calamity proof, but it's clear proof that you master patience to the fullest as you navigate life's endless flows. You are strength wrapped in folded tears. You are hope hidden inside buried love. You are goodness unearthed from shattered memories. You are a fortress of contentment and faith. You continue to rise from the depth of loss to the rooftops of heaven. This third piece is called Velvet Memories. I form memories with strangers more than I do with my kin. The intricate details of these memories are like echoes hanging by a thread. I rarely stitch lasting memories to their souls because my body is always summoned to move to a fleeting city. This one is called, it's on closure. Not all lands have defined borders. Some identities are formed in in-betweenness. Yet most of love slips between dotted hellos and unfinished goodbyes. This last piece is called Life. You are all the places you've been to, including the ones with no traces. You are all the sorrows you collected, even the ones you exhaled. You are the happiness that you served the lives you cheered for, and the pieces that make up your soul. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you. All of those pieces were so beautiful and so
Thank you so
wonderful
much.
to hear your poetry. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next up, I would like to invite Sylvia Blalock up to the mic. Welcome, Sylvia.
Hello, Nia. Thank you. I'm going to go with a couple of short pieces. This first one is When the Mirror Lies. Sometimes the mirror lies right before our eyes. We possess a beauty that it seems to deny. What shines back at us seems a collection of flaws, someone not worthy of applause. Your beauty is unique to you and is both how you look and what you do. Your eyes, your nose, your body, and your smile, the way you treat others and your artistic style, all of these things add a layer, you see, to the full package that is your beauty. On those days you gave your gaze and begin to appraise the face gazing back with something less than praise. Remember this, you are quite beautiful in so very many unseen ways. And that's the first piece. The second piece is not queuing up, of course, is I wrote it. There was a video on YouTube and the young lady had the caucasity to decide to try a box relaxer on her not relaxable hair and posted it to Facebook. And I was like, okay. And so I wrote this poem called Becky No Burn. I watched a couple of videos to see if I could learn the secret to the way little Becky doesn't burn. It started in a hoodie, eyes wide and full, and rolled out, giving those heartstrings a little pull. In the end, it was a load of bull. Her lush head of hair had been bleached bone white and dyed pink and pretty so that it shone in the light. Brittle and dry, little Becky hatched a plan, you see, to make her tortured hair return as good as could be. Some corner drugstore purchase, maybe just for me, with a twisty wearing youngster with skin of mahogany. Without bothering to read the instructions, jumped right on in, opened the box and the jar and slathered the product in. She waited the prescribed time, and in the shower, she did climb. To rinse the product free from her crowning beauty, little Becky noticed something she hadn't before. Clumps began to form and fall to the shower floor. To her horror and surprise, her hair began to fall, clogging up the drain and sticking to the walls. She felt it sliding down her back. Lucky she didn't have a heart attack. She rinsed until no product left in, and got out to give the mirror a little spin. Well, what to her wondering eyes did appear but an unimpeded view of her neck and her ears. The sobbing began in earnest. Her hair had fallen out. She consulted a hairstylist, and it ain't hard to figure out. The moral of this story is going to sound a little petty, but be prepared to say it loudly when you are ready. There are a lot of things alike about us. This is indeed true. But never get it twisted, Becky. Everything meant for me is not meant for you. And that's that piece. I know that sounds petty, forgive me. And finally, this little one. Remember that time the Romans got rowdy? That time we came together when our open skies grew cloudy? I braided my hair and you sharpened your sword, then I sharpened yours while you trimmed away your beard. We came together beside the fire. We moved our love from this heaven to one that was safer and a little higher. Promising to return and retrieve this precious treasure, this proof of our love coming fully together. Falling sands through an hourglass darkly. Remember when Remember back when the waters ran dry, when former brothers made freedom more difficult to come by? We saved what we could and took what we could carry. To protect my internal treasure, it was decreed we would need to marry. With my hair picked out, I am the November cotton flower set to bloom far too soon. The blush of summer that tints the snow and longing. Drifts of future glow in dreams of the West, where once many would go. Frosted mission to outlast the captive condition, breaking what with both hands past foe alliance with the predilection for truths that appear self-evident. I am that, and I am also this. Springtime pre-show, fist-raised afro, stacks fist groupie, baseline junkie, hippie girl funky, kaleidoscopically motivated, psychologically stimulated, philosophically X-rated, secretly worshipped, openly hated, circumvented, too often negated, so full of myself I am you when you were me, and I filled you fully. And you pulled me into ecstasy, and you made sure I knew how deeply you received me. When we fought the world, it was back to back. You had my back, I had your back. With each stroke, we joked about being up each other's backs. I danced in your adoration, blade and extension of come hither with a price. Indecision and derision resolved in a slice, almost reckless in my wanton bloodletting, eager to return to this good love I've been getting. Your power fortified by pure devotion. We were the revolution, and our song is still being sung. We were purposeful in our love, and our side always won. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sylvia, for all your pieces. That was wonderful hearing them. Thank you.
Thanks.
Next up, I would like to invite Saira Bordeau. Welcome, Saira.
Hi, thank you. This one I wrote, it's one of the poems that you can read like down and then across, contrapunto, I think it's called. But it's one of my first efforts into form writing. So yeah, I'll just read it one way because I think that'll probably take up the time. But yeah, thanks for listening. It's called Within Freedom. Within freedom, I am first and foremost mine. My needs are met without spending money or losing my mind. The money I do spend, though, will stay with us. Within the community we built, we will celebrate each other's gifts and talents, will protect each other's vulnerabilities. We argue, but not to cut deep. We shoot together, our bullets never flying over nothing. Our knives don't know each other's blood in most part. We hold fast. We carry on. Ride together, interbeing, interacting. Not for each other's bullshit though. We check that. We know that. It's okay for us to disagree and we expand in complexity. This is not a wheels fall off situation. We checked the wheels before we left. With communication is how we're doing it now. Boundaries help with intimacy. I need more intimacy in my freedom. Some of us will not be there and we are okay with that. This is where that blood on our knives comes in. We have to protect our young, the young ones within ourselves as well. This helps us stay together. In spirit, on blocks we own, leads to land we share, space we steward, we retreat and travel with one another. Our understanding of vacation changes. Work has changed. We use our voices differently. We still speak, we still dream and speak just as loudly sometimes. And sometimes we need not speak at all. We flow within each other's unspoken languages, our body minds connected. We have time to go slow. I get to think myself all the way through. all of the time. We enjoy one another's complexities. We are rich in time. The meaning of life is different. We have been here all along, have uncovered now our truest selves. We are different, but we need each other just the same. We heal our ancestors in this. Our elders taught us this. Our future can depend on this in freedom. Each moment contains our past and our futures. In this, we remain present, not as a rejection, in acceptance. We haven't made it so far till now, right now in freedom. I unravel these truths, check them against myself, my bruised perception of what I'm doing, allowed to do, take steps to make this freedom my consciousness, my reality, more than in the moments I steal away. That is freedom too. Everything I think freedom is a healing, meaning just that. In these poems too, these poems are maps and blueprints too. I can get free as long as we all get free, as long as I spill off the page, as long as this process leads to being about that action. In the space we are stealing to heal, we are taking our freedom, taking our power to turning it into power that turns these wildest dreams in my mind. Until there aren't moments or dreams anymore, until in freedom I am first mine, and my needs are met without having to spend on a dime. Within freedom, I get to keep my body and my mind. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarai. I'm hoping that next time you can read it the other way, because I'm so curious. And I know folks were saying that in the chat as well. Thanks for sharing that piece. So I'm going to read a couple short poems and then introduce our feature for this evening. So the first poem I'm going to share is entitled, Like Dust We Rise. Sunset plays upon my closing lids. Tomorrow's morning is just another day. We are whole before they claim we are no longer. But what pieces of us do they take when they make holes of our being? Riddled with empty space, we ride upon the air. We rise, we float, we make kites of our bodies. Leave this place for good, leave this earth for a better world. We have new imaginations to build, new forevers to create. Let us breathe in and in and in, spin and dance in space and dance, and maybe we are all here together. And this next piece is the most recent poem I've written. It's been a long time since I wrote a new poem. This is entitled, My Eyes Resting. Midday, we suspend consciousness together, chest to chest, rocking in the chair. In a room otherwise void of furniture, the tatami mats cushion the sound of our sleep. The walls of two small rooms sigh. The attic whispers to the carpet. The attic whispers to the carport. The rumble of my father's return wakes the stillness. Bryant Street is a figment of my childhood, a memory and a lie. This Palo Alto before the new millennium, a destination only accessible in my dreams. In the photograph, I watch us before remembrance, to exist in a small, safe space. My mother's lap, my first home. Thank you. And with that, it is my honor to introduce our featured poet for this evening. Tanea Lunsford Lynx is a fourth generation Black San Franciscan on both sides. Tanea is a writer, educator, and cultural worker. In 2018, she co-curated Still Here 6, Existence as Resistance, a performance featuring queer Black San Franciscans as part of the National Queer Arts Festival. Tanea has been awarded an individual artist grant from the San Francisco Arts Commission, as well as residencies at the Headlands Center for the Arts, the San Francisco Public Library in collaboration with Radar, Mesa Refuge, the Vermont Studio Center, Squaw Valley, and Under the Volcano. She has more than 10 years of experience as a performing artist, curator, activist, and educator in San Francisco. Welcome, Tanea.
Thank you, Nia. Thank you, thank you. I'm so grateful to have y'all here in my kitchen and to be in all of your homes as well. It does something special to me, although the circumstances are so strange, to know that like your voices are in my house and my voice is in your house. That's really special to me. I chose pieces to read tonight because I found myself over the last year and a half needing a reminder all the time that I had the option to feel something else, that I had the option to have hope and sit in my knowing. And so I'm going to read a few pieces and I'm going to show a short video, a short film that I created. It's about 4 minutes long. And then I'll come together for a last piece. So the first piece I'm going to read is called Grief. It's part 1 of a series. Grief, a series, part 1. I've decided that I will not be ruined this summer. I've decided that I will not be Jekyll-Hyded by grief, that I will not hide hurt from myself out of fear. I look forward to going there. I look forward. I've decided. I look forward to the time letting sadness and longing reel out of me through my back and into the floor. I've decided to choreograph my own grief dance. I've decided to spend my time this time believing that healing is possible without being swallowed, without emerging by cutting myself triumphantly out of the belly of a great whale after lingering too long in the darkness there. I've decided that it does not have to be whole-consuming to be real. I've decided I can stop when it hurts too much, fold the corner of the page and return to it when I'm ready. I have already decided I will not be broken in half this summer. I've already decided this. It's too late to grieve the old way by way of being eaten alive, of ignoring the bleeding out, of becoming nothing, of not tasting my food. I've decided to laugh at the audacity of humidity, to let my anxious stomach fall out of my butt when it drops, if it dares, to love. I've decided to love in the present. I've decided I can be healed by the medicine spun by my own fingers for the top of my own head. I've decided that I am still curious about joy in the deep mist of grief jungle floor. I have decided in my own image, I can dance with 2 lovers laughing and crying with both feet taking turns up and then down and then up and then down and then coming together off of the ground. The next piece I'm going to read is called Me and My Friends. I chose this piece because I would be a very different person coming to you all tonight if I did not have such beautiful friends who reached out to me and accepted my reaching out to them. Me and my friends. Me and my friends learn intimacy in each other's hands. Me and my friends channel knowledge for each other and change spare tires, ask about ex-boyfriends, and comfort with mouths like our grandmothers. Summon our most beloved elders. Me and my friends make mistakes and love anyway. Me and my friends watch each other have children and have fun at the club. Me and my friends know the tonal pitches of each quiet. Me and my friends know the fear of. Me and my friends know when it's all too much, know the look of one fading, how the eyes look pretending. Me and my friends know I'm sorry, I messed up, and how can I do right by you? Me and my friends know when one leaves, we all leave. Me and my friends know hard love sometimes feels good. Me and my friends want to see each other win, We put in all of our chips to see to it, make our shoulders strong to stand on, pick out our afros for the occasion, put on our flyest suits, bring our new partners, bring seeds in our pockets, show up with our wigs even snug on the napes of our necks. When I forget who I am, I call her. She never forgets who I am. I will hold fire for you when it's your turn. When it's your turn to cross the stage, to raise up the baby, to nail the headstand, to get the medal, to close the conversation, to empty the lot, to finalize the divorce, to christen the baby, to consecrate the offering, to lay it, lay her, lay them to rest, to read the thing aloud finally, to weep uncontrollably at nothing for hours. I will hold the fire for you when it's your turn to shout the brave thing, when it's my turn to be the designated driver, when it's our turn to pull her elbow away from the creepy dude, to hold the purse while you handle that business, when it's my turn to bring the water. Me and my friends lose contact and come up for air years later when we see each other on the street, smell each other's hair and know the other has survived, something has survived everything. We start from the place we left off, eat off the same plate, head on the same pillow, saved from drowning often. Me and my friends feel everything. One of us goes to make the offering, and all of our toes feel the tide licking at our heels. We feel the relief balming over us already. I have one more piece that I'm going to read before I show a short video. And it's called My Job. And it's inspired by teachers. And so I feel so blessed to have at least one of my teachers here. And I read this poem last month, and it was my first time reading in person for the first time in a very long time. But I wrote it about my job as a teacher at City College of San Francisco. And so I read this poem alongside other teachers and poets and workers under the banner of worker power and solidarity. This summer, I'm teaching a class in the African American Studies Department at CCSF called AFM 60, which is African American Women in the US. And the class has been really a living altar for me, a grounding for me. And you may be surprised to know that despite the African American Studies Department being founded in 1970 at CCSF, there has not been a student that has been able to graduate from CCSF with an AFM Studies degree or certificate because the department is so historically underfunded. I wrote this piece and I continue to teach in order to record my vision of a future where we get to learn about ourselves. My job. My job is to fight for a future where my students don't have to be heartbroken by minimum wage, where capitalism stops stealing our dreams and reselling us our own ideas with tax. I want my students to have a future where wage theft is talked about like a horror story around a campfire. White rabbit, white rabbit. I want a future where my students don't have to work to eat, don't have to be the best at something to be treated humanely. My job is to find language and give words for our most intimate experiences of ourselves. My job is to see the future, to see it clearly and breathe life into it. So I see my students graduating. I see them smiling and pulling their tassels one side to another. I see them holding their babies on their hips. I see their mothers holding their diplomas. I see them blocking traffic and business as usual in defense of each other. I see them having the right words at the right moment. Sometimes I just see them doing nothing, and this is a luxury and a delight I hold them in for as long as I possibly can. Every teacher I have loved me back at eye level, poured into me with a soft but heavy hand, saw me growing and saw me fist fighting a system bigger than all of us, saw me resting and writing and made me possible, made my fight possible. I am made from the magic of teachers who saw me in the future and who refused to see a future without me. My job is to carry forward this lineage, their lineage, to reach back and pull forward a song, to let the words fly out of my mouth and to revel in the sounds of all the voices joining in around me who already know the words. Thank you. And thank you to all the teachers. I'm going to show a short film that I made. It's based on a poem that I wrote called Capitol and Broad. Capitol and Broad is an intersection in San Francisco where I grew up in Lakeview. And I wrote a poem about it, and I got to make a video about it featuring some of my family. And so I'm grateful to share it here with you all. I'm going to share my screen, and then I'm going to turn my video off because I know that sometimes bandwidth makes it hard and I lag. So here we go. Capitol and Broad. Grace grows generationally at the liquor store. My grandma was treated any old kind of way. My daddy ran the block. And my high school graduation photo is up and left of the Newports, between the plastic above the counter. One day on this corner, my father told my mother a joke. She covered her mouth to laugh, and I came out on the other end. Of course, this is not all there is, but this is where most of us is. Inside the house cursed with 3 generations of addiction, so my Nana sold it when my mother went to rehab. The new owners, knowing nothing about what to do during a raid, or what to do when your mother goes to rehab, or what to do about the remaining Black neighbors, resold it for $1 million and still couldn't get the ghosts out. They added bars on the front windows and fixed the front gate, trying and failing to. Laundry and mambas, now laters and rhododendrons. The streetcar is changing colors again today. My cousin rolls up in his mother's squeaking car while I wait to see if inbound or outbound will round the corner. Like flipping a coin, like shaking an 8-ball. Which way will I wrap my arms and grip this city today? I watched the library become a blue paint chipped void on the corner since I could read. I watched the Pentecostal church become condos and still sing. I've forgotten about the house next door to ours. Was it green with smooth slats, or was it textured like goosebumps? And who was it who used to sit up on the windowsill, stretching out to the neighbor's landing, leaning slightly into the tiny gap between our 2 houses as a joke? I'm moving, whoever it was would say, as if they could lean just a bit more out of that window and start a new life next door. We would laugh. I've forgotten who was there laughing with me. The consonants in our names are being whispered through the low looping telephone wires, even after the security cameras are installed, and my picture is ripped down off of the plastic in the store and is replaced with a tax. My handprint is still in the concrete in front of our old house, and the park is still full of dirt from underneath my father's fingernails, even though they tried to ship him away. And the laundromat on the corner, it stays open late night whirring with the electricity from my great-grandmother's teeth grinding beyond the grave. Of course, this is not all there is, but this is us. This is ours. This is where most of us is. So that's Capital and Broad. It's a film that I created in 2019 with the support of the Queer Women of Color Media Arts Project that showed at the film festival last summer. And I'm going to read one more piece, but before I do, I just want to extend my gratitude to Nia and Danica and everyone who makes this space possible for us to be together in this way. I have so much gratitude for the readers who came before me, and I'm excited to hear those after. The last piece that I'm going to read is called I Used to Live Here. And it's a piece that I wrote similar to my film about San Francisco, because the San Francisco that I knew and that I know was one that was very Black, and one that is no longer the same. And it's important to me to be able to write that history, to write us in, write our histories in, and celebrate and bring some of that to life. So here it is. I used to live here. I used to live here. My whole hood is a museum now, and my whole city is a playground with rules against me. This used to be a good place for a young witch to practice raising hell with two too small hands. A place for getting on the back of the bus without paying and still feeling dignified, shouting, "Back door!" This used to be a good place to be nobody, to hide from the too rough fingers of the world under thick fog until you caught your breath and could run again, or so I'm told. By the time we got here 4 generations ago, all of the good hiding spots for catching your breath were taken, or we weren't allowed to buy. You used to be able to find a lost auntie in the Tenderloin who told good stories and forgot whose secrets were whose. You used to be able to dream about life as a lowrider and a Black cowboy here. You used to could have little baby dreams here. You used to be able to get your fortune told by the man in front of the liquor store who had been revived from death twice for the price of 1 loose Newport. My grandmother used to lean over to the side, the left side of her chair, using her right hand to rub huge circles on her hip when the rain was coming. My grandmother who burped when she was feeling anxious. You used to be able to have a grandmother here. I'm 17 years old when my boo and I have matching Jordans and matching North Faces zipped up to our chins. We kick out the red stop request signs on the M train and put them on a necklace and wear them like a prize. Where did all the imagination in this city go? There's not even a Blondie's downtown anymore. Where are all the Black and brown children in this city? Somewhere being treated like extinction, I suppose. They dug up our bones when they turned over the dirt in them projects where Anthony's granny used to live. It's a high rise now, with the best views any building built on Black backbones could build. Or so they say. They won't let me up to see the view. My head fell off while running to catch the 54 again today. It's made me remember the neighborhood that used to live under this hologram. It's made me remember the me that used to grow, blooming under this microscope like a germ. I used to live here. Several leagues beneath the sand and sea at Ocean Beach where people are burning out fog machines to keep the attraction going. There is another layer of alternate reality, a universe where I can't find parking anywhere in the Mission. And the light goes out at my grandmother's old house, but none of us lives there. And the house with our multi-generational miracle in it is nearly up to $2 million on Zillow, tumbling profit as it gets bought and sold every year. And I see people whose singing voices made me cry with joy lying in the street with no shoes on. And I'm losing teeth in all my dreams. I used to live here. Before my sister had the baby and summer returned in September in time to celebrate. When Cesar Chavez was Army Street and I only knew one Potrero Hill and there was no pizza and no dog walking there. Before NOPA. When we couldn't be queer, so we had to really enjoy our Halloweens in the Castro. When the Metreon was still new and the Fast Slide in Yerba Buena Gardens was the top of the world and downtown was a Friday night activity brought to you in part by a long paper transfer or a pass with a Y on it. Say, I know hood talk and hippie talk. I know ain't, I know hyphy, I know gumbo, I know that you don't have to get out of the car to enjoy the view, but the wind has magic in it. I know that nobody puts their feet in the water, but there's a blessing in it for you if you do. I used to live here and I'm coming back for all my stuff. I'm coming back for all of our stuff. All of our after Bart stops running shenanigans, after all of our heart-to-hearts around Lake Merced a million times, after all the little things we got away with stealing at Stonestown Mall. After our standing in line for Jordans and driving our mother's cars without licenses and being curious about the significance of why the warning siren blares on Tuesdays at 12 of all times. I am coming back for our San Francisco, whether or not they let me across the bridge. I want to see it up close. I want to see us up close. I want to meet all of our mothers hanging out of the windows, looking left and right for us to come barreling down the blocks when it's time to come home. I want this for all of us. I want it to be how it was when I used to live here. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Tanea, for all of the poetry. That video piece alone was just incredible, and I think that last piece you shared really, it gave me chills listening to it. Just the way that you've archived this city and this place through your words is really incredible. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I do want to give an opportunity if there are any other upcoming performances or other ways people can continue to support you and your poetry. If you can either share that verbally or put it in the chat, I would really appreciate that.
For sure. This coming Sunday, actually, the 11th, I've been curating an event called Black Love, which is through Strut, through the San Francisco AIDS Foundation. And there is a multidisciplinary artist show that I'm curating and performing in this Sunday at 6 p.m. You can find that information as well as other upcoming events on my website, which is tanealunsfordlynx.com. And I dropped that in the chat as well. Thanks, y'all.
Great, thank you so much. We'll definitely put that in the chat. That was so wonderful. This whole evening has just been really, really filling me up with everyone's words and poetry. And there's still more to come. So with that, I would like to start our second half by inviting up Staci Montes up to the mic. Welcome, Staci.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Tanea, I'm a native San Franciscan as well. And you, capital and broad, I know it well. And I just want to thank you for intimating what I feel about our city. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I grew up literally right behind City College. So I'm in the OMI and Lakeview as well. I got you, I got you. I'm gonna bring 3 short poems. I would like to come on, but it's saying my video is interrupted. So I'm gonna make this as smooth as possible. My first one is called My Wellness Journey. Holding space for faith, traveling an unknown path, I arrive wanting. Preparing myself, connecting to dank shadows requiring light. Nurturing myself with the here rather than now. Acknowledging pain. Pain that I sit with as emotions are silenced from a trauma lived. Trauma speaking loud. Listening to that shrill voice, triggers are released. My soul is anchored, grounding in expansive space. Brightness floods darkness. Trust is forming roots, permeating open cracks, birthing all knowledge. Stretching towards light beyond the sanctuary of my sacred temple. I boldly stand strong, my environment secure. Peace protects the fruit, a fruit that matures, ripening with compassion, consumption ready. Behold something new. Divine femininity, possibilities. My next one is something I wrote this morning. I always challenge myself, and so here we go. Gifts, talents, lane, of that you have control. Self, ego, emotional boxes taps your immanent soul. All mentioned rest within your mind, activated by choice. What is required of you is giving such behaviors a voice. Will it be loud, brassy, or bellow, or soft, like a flower's petal? Gift, talents, lane, you at your very best. Now, my dear, this new moon presents. What will you manifest? And Nia, you know, and I thank you for having me on again. I always do haikus, so I'm going to end with this haiku. I laugh at myself and all the silly thoughts I entertained today. Thank you, everyone. It has been a pleasure to be on with you. Amazing talent, amazing talent. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Staci. It's wonderful to have you back and to hear your poetry and your haiku. Thank you so much. Next up, we have Raymond Nat Turner. Welcome, Raymond.
He's muted.
Okay, I was unmuted. So anyway, I said thank you, and thank you and your crew for all that you do. I have a couple of pieces. The second piece is a tribute to Angela Davis. I had the privilege of reading this piece at her induction into the ILWU Local 10 Longshore Warehouse Workers as an honorary member. And there are only 3 people that are honorary ILWU members. One is a gentleman by the name of Paul Robeson. The other is a gentleman by the name of Martin Luther King Jr. So in any case, the first piece is called Black Lives Matter. Black lives matter unless you listen to loud music, shoveling snow, or own a phone or car. Black lives matter unless you breaking up a fight or your brake light's broken. Black lives matter unless you a Chicago child unschooled in Mississippi apartheid, unless you a man not laughing at unfunny stuff and looking up from mud into steely blue-gray eyes, or resisting rapists coming for your mama, sister, daughter, wife. But Black lives matter unless you smoking a cigarette or making a turn. Unless you're a child scoring sugary snacks in the Sunshine State. Unless you unhoused and have healthy reactions to homelessness and its insanity, any city. Black lives matter unless you a doctor describing decent care to a Mangala medicine man from your ICU bed. Black lives matter unless you caught trying to breathe between swastika or neotene and long white arm of the law. And then this piece is the piece that I did for Sister Angela at the ILWU Local 10 Longshore Workers Union Hall. She was inducted on Juneteenth. So it was a doubly significant day. The piece is called Fourth Supreme. And when I grew up in Los Angeles, a lot of us cats were smitten by 3 young women from the projects in Detroit. They were known as the Primettes and later became known as the Supremes. For one, Caffey's Kitchen. I'm not afraid to die, 18-year-old me proclaimed from ultra-modern kitchen Dad drew and made with magic of his hand. Mom's pregnant pause muted miles while monkishly displacing her note. Baby, I'm not impressed. I'd be impressed if you weren't afraid to live. To Tommy and Bunchy. Sunday morning, untangling cornrow after cornrow combed in out into afro, tagging it with afro sheen to meet Tommy at the team post with our guns. My joke at his expense, punctuated by a bullet buzzing bee-like above my hive before lodging in the ceiling. He giggled disarmingly at plaster dust coating my oily hair like a powdered, sugared pastry. A year later, my best friend was dead. It was Bunchy who introduced us to the gun, but it was Ringling Brothers' rhetoric of a rapist that captured our imagination. And soon I had 7 guns. 2 years later, the rapist was celebrated, and Bunchy, big brother from another mother, was dead. Theoretically dehydrated and starved, wandering the city of Angels Desert, growing from the barrel of a gun. It wasn't business, it was personal. Enter Fourth Supreme, 3 Fourth Supreme. Ms. Mary was mysterious, but the best dancer. Ms. Diana, the magnetic, cooing romancer. Yet, here's the secret I know. Cats in my hood dug Miss Flo, like the Fourth Supreme's fro. The Fourth Supreme, the Fourth Supreme, came singing tones tween Douglas and Carmen McRae, Malcolm X and Lady Day. The Fourth Supreme, the Fourth Supreme came by way of Birmingham, hitting Dynamite Hill high notes, came singing stop in the name of love so that one day Black lives might matter. The Fourth Supreme, the Fourth Supreme came as a historical materialist girl living in a dialectical world. Came singing smoky flavored, try something new, something protracted, something long haul, something sounding like resistance, legato, Black and brown lives. The Fourth Supreme, the Fourth Supreme came singing worldly harmonies. With the working millions, Hoover hated her songs. He preferred reflections from silver bracelets and covers captioned red, black, and wanted. Not the world's response to her call. Set me free, why don't you, babe? The Fourth Supreme, the Fourth Supreme came human, stripped of superhero symbols on her chest, minus X-ray vision and ability to fly, came occasionally singing sharp or flat, covering the wrong songs. Yet her catalog and crates require 7 shifts of longshore workers to unload and remain supreme.
Great. Thank you so much, Raymond, for those poems, the music, and your poetry. It's always a joy.
Thank you.
Next up, I'd like to invite John Chase Acevedo. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's been a while since I've been here, so it's good to be back. Here we go. If I can backtrack the number of full moons to a time where we will be left alone together, I will say 86. 86 full moons would bring me to your feet. It would bring me to fill your hands with aloe extract, attempting to fill in the creases of your skin, Grandma. It brings me to trying to erase the years we've been absent. I see the lines imprinted on your cheeks from the smiles we shared. I'm sorry the bags under your eyes weren't checked in. Are they reservoirs? Were you holding it for when we would have mirrored our hello? If there was a way to turn back 98 full moons, I would have asked you if the brown on your skin was because of the walks in the sun. When it beats down at 98 degrees, are your knuckles cramped with arthritis from rolling tobacco, or are we primates? Shoulders slumped over from all the rolling of leaves. Please teach me how to be the man your son never was. I hear it skips a generation. Is a full head of hair something I have to look forward to? If there were a way to see you 144 full moons ago, I would have asked both of you, how do you do this thing called life as a married couple? 16 children, 87 grandchildren, a small town full of great grandchildren who have only been able to be alive because of you. You will never be able to hear how much I admire you, but will be able to see it in my actions. They speak louder than any of these words will ever. I will never cause you to turn over in your soil, but would love to see you again, arms extended like branches on an oak tree so I can sit in your presence and be left alone together at Mania. Never once forgot about her grandson, even when her son wasn't the man he raised. She always made sure she was present in his child's life. Countries couldn't keep her from handwriting letters, spraying it with her perfume. So there's a connection. When that fragrance appears again, she is the reason I hold on to my mother's tongue, even if it was borrowed. The reason failure is not an option, why my children learn traditions, why communication across waters is important. I have learned hustle and resilience from her, learned ambition and loyalty. She has laid out the blueprint for what 60 years of a happy marriage looks like. What she doesn't have in wealth, she has in heart. I only pray to be as successful in life. Pray to feel her fingertips, brush against my cheek, smell the fragrance of her hugs, lingering hours after I'm gone, or give my children bendiciones before they go to bed. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. That was a beautiful poem and a beautiful tribute.
Thank you.
So next up, we have Avacha to close us out this evening. Welcome, Avacha.
Hey, you guys have been awesome. Wow, that's all I can say. I haven't written much in the chat because I was getting some food ready for my grandsons, who I joyfully call Jaws 1, 2, 3, and 4. But anyway, a couple of poems. This one I'm going to have to read off of the computer because I haven't printed out. Someone had the nerve to ask me to write something about, what do you call it, the 4th of July. So, and I'm going to ask you to please take me off of the spotlight because it really gets on me when I'm, look at this big picture of me. I can't deal with it. But anyway, what I'm trying to read. But anyway, so this is the one I wrote in answer to that. Hope it does not make anybody upset, but what can I say? This is what I believe. Holiday or horror day or just another great day for a sale. Holidays. Holidays are great, and I've never said no to a paid day off, but Independence Day, you must be kidding. Just another legal holiday where we get paid to eat and party. Oh yeah, call it what you want, but where I come from, we call it National Barbecue Day. Of course, I do not and will not celebrate the 4th of July. For me, it's just another much needed day off. Another delusional fairy tale, a festal celebration of the glorification of self-righteous thievery, rabid genocide, racial degradation, and infanticide. But it is one more of those days when you can get a real deal on a new car or anything else you've been convinced you need or want to buy. And then there is Thanksgiving, a grotesque nightmarish spectacle of lies, a sanctimonious fantasy, a national delusion, a bloodbath, reinvented and presented as the friendly family gathering to die for, never mentioning all the folks who did die for the right to pay the price, for the lavish feast on America's tables, sanctified gluttony. But Everything on those tables was organic, GMO free, American grown, and on sale. So I guess that makes it all right. And no, I have not and will not celebrate Columbus Day, a day celebrating a drunken, egotistical scoundrel who came to wonder where the hell he was at. A pompous nemesis who gained fame for the act of getting lost, being the world's most famous alcoholic. An intoxicated braggart who declared himself God to a beautiful bunch of brown folks on a beautiful island in the tropics. Kind, indigenous brown folks who couldn't care less and didn't understand a word he was saying. Holiday, a horror day, or just another fairy tale, or another day for a big sale, a great sale. I guess it depends on which side of history you're walking on, but wait a minute, just think about it. And all the ways these days can bring us all together. This is the 21st century, one nation with the economic ability to free us all. Let us put the past in the past and celebrate as one. The opportunities are endless. Just take a look. See, Kwanzaa cards made by Hallmark. The new and improved and recently reconstructed liberal faction of the newly integrated White Citizens Council's Juneteenth celebration. Ooh-wee, sounds familiar to me. And reminds me my holidays don't have to be sanctioned by anybody's religion or the state. I can celebrate whatever and whenever I want, and my holidays, sacred, historical, or just because I want to party, are mine and don't have to cost me one thing dime. And with that, let me go here. I got one more for you. If I can get out of here. Okay, here we go. This next one is called Soundly Metaphysical, and it's on a CD called Matters. I'll put a couple of CDs in my book and my poetry series in the chat. Please check us out. And I want to do this for my friend Eddie Saldo, who I think is listening to us from old San Juan. Soundly Metaphysical. My music. My music is an orgasmic synonym for all that is real, an organic vibrational healer, sanctified tone for my dealing sound. Call me a metaphysician, a doctor of sound. Another addition on the ladder of tradition, another one of those trying to be spiritual music nuts, pushing 100% natural medicine, melodic medicine, non-toxic cures from B flat to high. See, I got a music Jones that won't let go. It's a heavy gift. A Zora Neale Hurston, Jose Montoya word song, a gift to lift us. A healthy intoxicant that's stronger than drugs and ever-expanding ritual fixes everywhere all the time. Music is the song that sings me, that flows through me, the song that is me. Music is the funk in the Joe Cuba tune, Duke Ellington's Mistress, the bee that bites, and Betty Carter's Bop, the blood in my veins. Poetic music is the air I breathe, the heart of every dream I dream. Sounds so strong, I can see it. Can you hear it? Feel it. I gotta know if you ever even noticed it. Music's calling and calling and calling, calls, always talking, calling you calmly, inviting you essentially as a caress, holding you warmly, hauntingly, desperately like a scream. Music is a unifier, the one sure thing that brings this world together, the only universal language. Music is a brazenly unrepentant flirt, come speaking, sweetly teasing, swinging and talk and jive in every idiom there's ever been. A language so strong, even the deaf can taste it. Are you listening? I say, are you listening? Is begging you to heal. Music and the music of the word is medicine. A poetic musician is the traditional healer. And I'm a dealer. Say, I'm a dealer, a metaphysician who deals in sound. Medicinal sound. It's the only high. I'm pushing right now. I say, right now I feel the healing coming on. Anybody out there want some? Thank you for listening to my words. Please come and support La Palabra Musical. The music of the word is a multilingual poetry series. We've had over 20 different languages because it's time to cut the crap and listen to each other. And thank you all you beautiful people who did all these beautiful things today. And what can I say? Nia, you know, I love you and I'm so grateful to MoAD. And please, everybody, support MoAD. What can I say? Okay, thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Avacha, for your poetry, for your ongoing support. So much gratitude for you. And I want to thank everyone here in this space as well for joining us for tonight's open mic. It's been just such a full evening of poetry, and I want to thank Tanea again for that incredible feature. This is an ongoing series that we have. It happens every 2 weeks. So our next open mic is going to be on July 22nd, and I just put the info in the chat. So I hope you will all join us. The wonderful Ali Jones will be our feature, so you don't want to miss that. And this open mic, again, it's one of many series that we do at MoAD. So I encourage you to visit our website, which is MoAD SF, to check out all the other programming that we're doing. And if you are able to support the museum financially, we do appreciate that as well. You can either make donations through our website, which again is moadsf.org, or by texting them the number 56512 and typing MoAD SF. And the last thing on my list is if you've enjoyed yourself this evening and just have a few moments following the program to fill out our program survey, we do appreciate hearing all of your feedback. It helps us know how to best support our communities. So the QR code on the screen will take you to that, as well as the link that Danica just shared in the chat. So thank you all. This has been such a beautiful evening with all of you, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care.